All right, so this is the first lesson in which we're going to be talking about simplifying rational expressions. And a lot of what you do is going to be incorporating a lot of the things that we've also talked about before. But just to get us started, so a rational expression is just as you see on the screen, an expression in the form of a polynomial over a polynomial. Remember, fraction bar just means to divide. So it's a polynomial divided by a polynomial. Okay, chapter 11 talks a lot about these types of situations, different operations in which you work with rational expressions. So our essential understanding here is that the simplified form of a rational expression is like the simplified form of a numerical fraction. The numerator and denominator have no common factor other than 1. To simplify a rational expression, we're going to divide out common factors from the numerator and denominator. Like a numerical fraction, a rational expression is undefined when the denominator is 0, because remember, you can't divide by a 0. So a value of a variable for which a rational expression is undefined is what we're going to call an excluded value. Okay, we've used that term before. It looked a little different before. You have to always be checking for said exclude values, which you will see when we go over our example problems. So here is our example. So what's happening here is we have an x minus 1 on the top and a 5x minus 5 on the bottom. Okay? When it starts out with more of your simple ones, you're always just looking at either the top or the bottom, seeing which one's a little simpler, and then seeing if you can get the other one to match up with that simple value. So in this one, I'm looking at the top, which says x minus 1. That one is a little bit simpler than 5x minus 5. So I'm thinking to myself, well, can I make the bottom say x minus 1 some way or another? And I can, because if I factor out a 5 from there and a 5 from there, that leaves me with x minus 1. So writing it out, I have x minus 1 on the top, and on the bottom, 5 in front of the parentheses, and in the parentheses, x minus 1. Okay? It does not matter what is on top and what is on bottom, whether it's variables, numbers, a combination of them. If you have something that is the same, you are able to cancel them. They form 1. So what happens here is these cancel out, and we're left with a 5 on the bottom, and essentially nothing on the top, but we can't leave nothing, so we're going to fill it in with a 1. You can take that rational expression that we started with, and in the end it becomes 1 over 5. But remember, we have to make sure that we include and we state any excluded values. So it usually is a lot easier to do this when you're kind of factoring things out and making it nice and neat, because looking at this, I know that if inside this parentheses I get a 0, 5 times 0 will give me 0. I can't have a 0 on the bottom. So whether you need to set it up and write it out, or if you can just look at it and say, that part is kind of up to you guys. But I know that x minus 1 can't equal 0. So if I set it equal to 0, that will tell me what value I cannot have for x. So adding 1 on both sides, that gives me x equals 1. So for my excluded value, I need to say that x can't equal 1. Because looking back to the original problem, 5 times 1 is 5, 5 minus 5 is 0, and we cannot have a 0 there. So our simplified answer is our 1/5, but you have to always include any excluded values, and in this case, x cannot equal 1. Let's look at another example. All right, a couple more examples here. Okay, so for A, 21a squared is on top, 7a to the third is on the bottom. Essentially, this is a rational expression, but really this takes us just back to when we talked about simplifying with exponents. Okay, we have a 21 on top, a 7 on the bottom. Well, those numbers can be divided. If there weren't a's, you would just say, oh, 21 divided by 7, and that gives you 3. Okay, so my 3 would be on the top, and then when I go to simplify my a's, I have 2 on top, 3 on the bottom. Well, the 2 on top cancel off, and I'm left with just 1a on the bottom. Okay, and that's really just simplifying with exponents. Now, always you're checking for excluded values. Well, because there's no adding and subtracting going on here, then it's pretty easy to do the excluded, and I would just say that a can't equal 0, because if 0 was raised to any power, doesn't matter if it's 3, 10, 1, 0 to any power remains 0. 0 times any number will give you 0. So a cannot equal 0 in that point. All right, so then the next one. Okay, 18d squared on top, 4d plus 8 on the bottom. Now this one is kind of meshing the two. There's one, it's a monomial on top and a binomial on the bottom. And that's the first time we've kind of really looked at that. So we're just going to start by asking ourselves, what are the common factors? Okay, so we have an 18, a 4, and an 8 for our regular numbers. Okay, so you're thinking, well, do they share any factors? The top one has a D, the bottom one has a D as well, but you can't cancel them because of the fact that you have the plus 8 on the bottom. Okay, and you needed both of them to have a D on the bottom. So all that you can factor out that would match up in this one is a 2. So I'm going to rewrite the top as 2 times 9d squared, because 2 times 9 gives us our 18. And then on the bottom, when I factor it out, that gives us 2 times 2d plus 4. So now my 2 divided by 2 cancels off. There's nothing more I can simplify or do from this point on. So my answer is 9d squared over 2d to the 4th. But as I mentioned, we always have to check for our excluded values. This 2 on the outside doesn't really matter because it's not going to be a factor. If this right here is going to be 0, then the whole thing is going to be 0 on the bottom. So I'm going to travel over here. We're going to set 2d plus 4, set that equal to 0. Once again, you might be able to do that in your head. You might have to write it out. That's your judgment call there. We're going to subtract 4 on both sides, giving us 2d equals negative 4. Final step, divide by 2. So we need to include in our final answer that d cannot equal negative 2. Because if it did, even going back to the top problem, 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 plus 8 gives you 0, and we cannot have that. So that would be our final answer on that one. Okay, let's continue to just pulse. So in this one, C is very similar to the first one we talked about. So we're looking to see if we can factor out something that will allow us to cancel. Right now the top one's a little more simplified because a 2 and a 3 is a little bit smaller than a 6 and a 9. So we're looking to factor something out on the bottom to make something match up. So rewriting the top as is, 2n minus 3. Okay, on the bottom, if I know this second number has to get to be 9, I know that's going to be a 3, which is nice because I know that it would match up. And if I needed the first one to be a 2 so they would match up, well, I know that it works out because if I take 3 times 2, it gives me the 6, and if I take 3 times 3, it gives me the 9. So now I have a 2n minus 3 on the top and a 2n minus 3 on the bottom. They're both going to cancel out. My final answer is 1 over 3, because once again the 3 was left in the denominator. Nothing's really left in the numerator. Fill in with a 1. I need to include my excluded values. I'm going to set up 2n minus 3 equal to 0 so that I can figure out that value. I'm going to add 3 on both sides. 2n equals 3. Divide by 2. Fractions are perfectly fine. So I get that n equals 3 halves. Remember, that's what it can't actually equal. So part of our answer is that n cannot equal 3 halves. Okay, looking at the next one. All right, this one's a lot more in depth. It looks a little bit scarier, but remember, start with the simplified one. So my simplified version is 2c squared plus 7. So if I can get the top to also say 2c plus 7, then they're going to be able to cancel out. So let's just go ahead and try that. We'll start with, we know it's going to be something on the outside, but if I were to write 2c squared plus 7, let's see if we can figure out what we need to multiply that by to get back to this original one. Okay? Well, 2 times 13 gives us 26, so let's see if I take 13 times 7 to see if I get the 91 that I need there. Well, 3 times 7 is 21, carry the 2. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 2 more, and it does indeed give me 91. Now, the other thing is that this is c to the third. compared to c squared. This is a regular c compared to a regular number. So I didn't actually just factor out the 13, I need to factor out a 13c. Okay, that's the only way to get it to work out. Now that I have something same on top and bottom, those cancel out. My 13c is in the numerator, so that ends up just being my final answer. Get a little separation here. So 13c is my answer, but as always, you need to include the excluded values. Okay? Now, currently in the denominator is a c squared. Okay? We know how to undo all those things, but we're going to look a little bit closer at that. So if I were to set it up, 2c squared plus 7 equals 0, we would subtract 7 on both sides, which would leave us with 2c squared equals 7. Divide by 2, and then I'm at c squared, traveling over here, c squared is equal to negative 7 halves. The only way to undo a square is to do the square root. Now at this point, you cannot take the square root of a negative number. So if we can't do that, that means an excluded value does not exist here. So there are no excluded values in this particular problem. That does happen, not very often, but I want you to be aware that it could happen. So just know that that's always an option. If you go, when you set it up to equal 0, if you can't get it to work out, that just means that it does not include an excluded value. All right, let's talk about so now we've looked at monomials, binomials, a combination of them. Now let's talk about trinomials. So this will also connect us back to Chapter 8 when we were talking about factoring. And we've been reviewing it in our Chapter 9 work with quadratics anyways, so we're just finding more ways to kind of connect things together. Okay? The really cool thing about this is you kind of already have an idea of what one of your factored values will be, one of your factored binomials, because you're trying to get things to cancel out. Now the first thing I see in this one is I see a 3x minus 6 on the bottom. Looking at the bottom, there is no 3 in front of the x squared. So I know that it's not going to work out for me as is, but I know that 3 and 6 both share 3 as a factor. So I'm actually going to factor the top as well as the bottom. So on the top here, that's 3 times x minus 2. So then when I go to the bottom, I'm kind of already thinking that one of my factored binomials will be x minus 2. So if I know that one is x minus 2, it makes it a little bit easier to figure out the other one because there's only one value when you multiply it by negative 2 that it becomes a negative 6, which is 3. But you should always make sure that it's working out. And if I take negative 2 times 3, I do get the negative 6. And if I do negative 2 plus 3, I do get the 1 there. So I kind of followed the trend, but I also checked to make sure that it's working out. Now that I have them both factored, these two cancel out. That leaves me with a 3 on the top and an x plus 3 on the bottom. Okay. Now, as always, we have to include excluded values. Now, your excluded values are not just from your final answer. Okay? You have to look at the problem before you canceled things out as well. So, yes, right now you're probably able to easily see that x can't equal negative 3 because of the fact that x minus 3 is left on the bottom. And if you set that up to 0, you would get negative 3. But you also have to pay attention to this one. And according to that one there, if x was 2, it also would make a 0 on the bottom. So you need to say that x can't equal negative 3 as well as 2. Okay, basically, when you're moving into your trinomials and your trinomials are in the denominator, you're looking at potentially having multiple in which you have multiple excluded values. Okay? Let's look at it. All right, so on this one, I'm looking at the top, 2x minus 8, very similar to the last one. Okay, I'm already thinking, okay, I'm going to have to factor something out on the top, and 2 does factor out. That leaves us with x minus 4. So then on the bottom, I know that x minus 4 is more than likely going to be one of them. The only thing you can multiply with 4 to make 8 is 2, and because it is a negative, I know it's going to be x plus 2. Just like before, I'm going to make sure that works out. Negative 4 times 2 does give us negative 8, and negative 4 plus 2 does give us negative 2. So these cancel out. That leaves me with my final answer of 2 over x plus 2. However, I have to think about my excluded values. For that, I'm thinking about this whole thing, not just the final answer. And when I look at that, for the first one, 4 minus 4 would give us 0, so I know that x can't equal 4. And for the second one, negative 2 plus 2 would give us 0, so x also cannot equal negative 2. Once again, when you have a trinomial in the denominator, it's very, very likely they're going to have multiple excluded values. So just always be mindful of that. Okay, one last problem. Here'd be one in which you're not looking at multiple excluded values because now your trinomial is in the numerator instead of the denominator. Okay, but the way you solve the problem isn't any different. I am going to start with the bottom because it's the simpler one. I'm looking at it and I already know I'm going to need to factor out a 3, so that gives me 3 times a minus 1, which tells me one of my binomials is probably a minus 1 on the top. And I'm looking at it, and the only value that I can multiply times negative 1 to make a positive 2 is a negative 2. Okay, double check to make sure it works out. Let's see, negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2, and negative 1 plus negative 2 is negative 3. So that works out. I can go ahead and cancel those. That means I'm left with my final answer of a minus 2 on top and 3 on the bottom. Okay, pretty easy to figure out our excluded value here. I think we all can look at this and say, well, 1 minus 1 would give us 0. As always, though, you can set it up. A minus 1 equals 0, add 1. So we know that a equaling 1 would make the bottom be a 0. Can't have that, so we're including that a cannot equal 1. Okay, that is day 1 of simplifying your rational expressions. We will definitely be talking more about this and looking a little deeper into it tomorrow.